Qodrat is a movie that combines fantasy and supernatural things with folk horror. It takes place at the Qodrat Islamic boarding school. The people who live there are having a time because their crops are not growing, and some of them are acting really strange, like they are possessed by demons. The movie is about a man who's good at getting rid of demons. He has to face the things he did in the past and deal with an old evil demon that is hurting a nearby village. The movie Qodrat is special because it mixes arts and religious horror. It is about a man who is struggling with his beliefs and a bad shaman who wants revenge. IMDb rating 6.3 out of 10. Lead actor Vino G. Bastian. The air in the room was really bad. It smelled like blood and something else that was very strong and unpleasant. Ustad Qodrat was standing over his son, Alif al-Fatana. Ustad Qodrat used to be an important man. People in the spiritual world looked up to him. Now he was standing over Alif al-Fatana, his own son, and it was a terrible sight. Alif al-Fatana's body was bent in ways that are not normal for a human. His bones were breaking like sticks. The demon As-Su'ala was playing with Alif al-Fatana's body. It was like a toy to As-Su'ala. Ustad Qodrat was watching this. It was very sad. The demon As-Su'ala was being very cruel to Alif al-Fatana. Qodrat's voice was really hoarse because he had been reciting for hours. It finally gave out on him. He had not succeeded. The demon took the boy's life in a painful way. Qodrat was left holding the boy's body, which was cold and empty. The boy was. Qodrat had failed to save him. Qodrat's failure was very sad. Qodrat was put in prison for 3 years because people thought it was his fault that his son died. He had to stay in a dark and wet prison cell. Being in prison was not as bad as what was going on in his mind. Grief is a door for the damned, and As-Su'ala did not have to do much to find Qodrat. The demon came back to Qodrat's prison cell, ate away at his sadness. This made Qodrat very depressed. The demon kept at it until Qodrat's heart finally stopped beating. Grief is a bad thing, and it can make people like Qodrat very sad. The prison of his mind was much worse than the prison he was in. Grief is a door for the damned, and it let the demon into Qodrat's life. In the space between breaths, Qodrat's soul went to Barzakh. This is the place where the living and the dead meet. It is a place with grey mists and no sound all. Qodrat saw the things he did wrong in Barzakh. He did not do things because he was mean. He did things because he was too proud and angry. Qodrat understood that an exorcist who fights because he is angry is not really fighting the demon. The exorcist is actually helping the demon by being angry. Qodrat was an exorcist who fought demons. He fought because he was angry. Now he knows that Barzakh is a place where he can see his mistakes. Qodrat suddenly came back to life with a gasp. This sound broke the quiet in the morgue. Qodrat was alive again. He knew what he had to do. Something was different about him now. The experience had hurt him deeply. Qodrat's spirit was hurt. Qodrat's purpose was clear. Qodrat was not the same person anymore. When Qodrat got out, he went to the one place that had ever felt like home to him, the Qodrat Islamic boarding school. The village he remembered was not there anymore. Instead, he saw a place that was all rotten. The crops had not grown for 3 years, which is how long Qodrat was in prison. The people in the village were very hungry. Their faces were thin. Their eyes were empty. They looked like they were going crazy because they were so desperate. The Qodrat Islamic boarding school was the place Qodrat wanted to be, but even that place was surrounded by this bad situation. The village was having a lot of problems that the local police could not figure out. People were not just dying, they were falling apart. A young girl named Jihan was the sign that things were getting really bad. She was taken over by something that did not have a name, and it did not want her soul. It just wanted her to hurt. The people in the village were very scared. They watched as she was made to walk to the edge of a cliff and jump off into the deep hole below. The village was terrified of what was happening to to Jihan. Jihan was the one who was suffering. The villagers did not know what to do to help Jihan. Her mother Tanti was really upset when she saw what happened. She was so sad that she did the thing jumping from that same cliff. This happened because she was very sad and could not deal with her feelings. Qodrat saw the thing and felt bad because she could not stop Tanti from jumping. The curse was like a problem that Tanti and Qodrat could not get away from. Tanti was. Qodrat was left to think about what the curse had done to Tanti and her. Qodrat found a place to stay with Yasmin and her 2 kids, Asha and a little boy named Alif Amri. The name Alif Amri really hurt Qodrat. It reminded him of his son who had passed away. This made Qodrat very sad. Things got even worse when Alif Amri started to get sick. His voice became very low, his skin turned a color like fruit that has been bruised. Alif Amri also started saying things that did not make sense. It was like he was speaking a language that nobody could understand. It was very strange. Qodrat thought about Alif Amri, how he was getting sick just like his own son. The name Alif Amri was still very painful for Qodrat to hear. This was a tough time for Qodrat. He was trying to help the boy. Then he found out that the boy was being controlled by Qodab. This was not any spirit. Qodab was a servant of Asu Allah. The demon was very mean to Qodrat. It used the boy's mouth to say things that the boy's dead son would know. This was very upsetting for Qodrat. The demon was trying to make Qodrat very angry. It was saying things to make him lose control of his temper again. Qodrat was facing Qodab. He knew it was not going to be easy. The village was in a mess and people were very scared. Then they found out what was causing all the trouble. It was not a ghost, but a man named Jafar. He was pretending to be a teacher, but really he was a black Kejawen Dukun, which is a bad kind of shaman. Jafar was the one who called up the spirits, and they were scaring the villagers on purpose. The reason Jafar did this was so the villagers would be afraid and ask him to help them. The man took something from the villagers in exchange for the things he did for them. He slowly took away the rights the villagers had to their land. He said the school owned the land now. He kept all the money for himself. The villagers lost their land. The man got rich from the villagers' land. The scary thing got really bad when Yasmin was taken over by the great adversary, Asu Allah. This bad spirit did not just get inside her, it completely took control of her body. The great adversary used Yasmin's body to cause a lot of trouble at the school. Asha went to get help. She left Alif Amri all by himself with his mom Yasmin, who was taken over by the great adversary. Qodrat had a face-to-face meeting with Kiai Rochim, who's in charge of the school. Kiai Rochim told Qodrat the truth. Jafar had changed the place into a place where people were sacrificed. Qodrat finally found Jafar in his room. The fight between Qodrat and Jafar was not about saying prayers. They also used arts that could break bones. This fight was like a war between their spirits. Qodrat stopped doubting himself, was able to kill Jafar. Qodrat did not feel happy about winning because Jafar had already done a lot of bad things. Qodrat had killed the shaman Jafar. The demon Asu Allah was finally free from Jafar's control and Yasmin's body. It jumped into Alif Amri. The demon Asu Allah did something very mean to Qodrat. The demon Asu Allah cast a spell that made Qodrat see things that were not real. When Qodrat looked at Alif Amri, he did not see Alif Amri anymore. He saw his son who had died, Alif al-Fatana. Alif al-Fatana was reaching out to Qodrat with hands that were rotting. Alif al-Fatana was begging Qodrat for the love of a father. The room shook hard when the demon started laughing. Qodrat was standing at the edge. If he said the boy was his son, the demon would hurt them both. If he hit the boy, he might kill another kid. Qodrat closed his eyes, tried to forget the lie. He looked away from what he was seeing, focused on what he believed in. Then he saw the Alif Amri, a young boy who needed help, not a ghost who needed a dad. The demon was tricking him into thinking Alif Amri was someone. But Qodrat saw the truth now that Alif Amri was just a victim who needed to be saved. The school was really shaken when Qodrat shouted a prayer. This prayer was so strong that it made the foundations of the school tremble. Qodrat used this prayer to push the demon. The demon was forced to go into nothingness. Qodrat got rid of the demon by sending it into the void. The demon was. Qodrat was relieved. Qodrat's prayer was very effective against the demon. 6 months went by. The bad stuff that was in the soil went away. The crops started to grow again. The people who lived in the village would always have a scared look in their eyes. They would always look a little too afraid. Qodrat could not find any peace in Kahuripan because a lot of things happened there, so Qodrat started traveling. As Qodrat drove away from Kahuripan, a big and weird thunder sound came from the sky. He did not turn away. He did not pray for safety. Instead, he pressed his foot onto the accelerator, driving directly toward the storm. The exorcist knew that long as the dark was screaming, the exorcist's work was never done. To understand Qodrat's journey, imagine a man trying to put out a forest fire with a cup of water while his own clothes are burning. He first had to put out the fire on his own skin, his grief and prison sentence, before he could hope to save the forest, the village. Only by realizing that the fire was being fueled by an arsonist hidden among the firefighters, Jafar, could he finally stop the destruction.